Hi, welcome back to Comicbook Gallery. I'm your host, Joaquin. How we doing this evening? It's Thursday night. For all you football fans out there, woo, we got some good games that happened today. And for the rest of you who are not into football, well, it's Sunday night, RPG. This video is coming out a lot later than I expected, but I was talking with my cousin Steven, who's also an artist, and you will be seeing him critique and help me with a portrait of my niece that I got stuck on. It was supposed to be done by Christmas. Sorry, sis. So I'm going to be releasing that on Sketchbook Thursday, and you're going to be able to get some pearls of wisdom. So if you're an artist and you want to learn how to paint and get some tips, well, here's your chance. So back to the story. Last we left off, if I could do that voice like on X-Men, it's like previously on X-Men. That's the best I can do. So it'd be like previously on Caverns of the Unknown. We left off where we fought an ogre and almost died, and we regrouped back at the camp. And instead of going back to the castle, the ranger, we swapped out some of the soldiers, and we left all the wounded there, and we took everybody else and went back into the caves of the unknown because he wanted to scope out the area a little bit more and see what else was going on. So we go back into the caves, and we discover that there are more goblins to be slain. At some point, as we were actually in the throne room, so right here I have a little goblin, and I'm trying to, keep in size of a dwarf, and so a goblin would almost be like half the size of a dwarf, and I made this dwarf a little bit bigger than I should have. So a dwarf comes up to roughly here, but I have him bending, so really, I should have had the human like this tall. But that's okay. That's why I'm doing these. I'm just kind of like working out these little sketch drawings to figure out what's going on and what I want to do and tell a story. So we're in the throne room. We fight our way to the throne room of the goblins. And through a doorway comes some other goblins that I've never seen before. And the dungeon master is describing these new goblins, similar to goblins, but they're a little bit bigger. And what he would do is he would always read the description to us and tell us what was going on. But he was like, you see these hairy hides of this dark reddish brown to gray black skin. Their faces are bright red orange to red. They have large, bluish red noses. Their eyes are yellowish. Their teeth are yellow, dirty brown. But you notice that they're a better class of goblins. Like, you can tell that they're related, but their weapons seem like they're not dirty, and their weapons are better and they're polished. So I'll show you. So right here is like I'm starting to sketch out my little version of a hobgoblin. And they usually would give them like a Mongolian style look. I'll go back to my player's handbook. And for those of you who are just joining this series, there was a time where I was 7 when I first started learning to play this game. So at around 8 and 9, I started picking up these books. My parents would buy them for me. Well, as I would get markers, but as you can see, most of it's crayons, I would just color it in. And this is what happens when you let a 7-year-old use markers and crayons to a book that he doesn't know that one day is going to hold value. Fortunately, back in 2009, I started picking up all these books up again in, I want to say like near mint condition, most of them. But I still keep these, and I like using these when I'm playing with new people, because I don't care if somebody spills a beer on the, well, actually I still would care. It's like, shouldn't be spilling a drink on these books. But, you know, if the book gets a little damaged, it's not a big deal. So he described these hobgoblins, which I started to sketch up. And the ranger is starting to do most of the heavy work. And as a recap, so this isn't the ranger. This is like a spearman that we hired. And here's my dwarf friend, my friend Jeff, which I haven't given a dwarf name. And if I was kind of like in the back here, so if I was kind of like right here, you know, it's my little cloak. And I got to make myself just a little bit smaller, because I was at the same time casting a spell, right? And you know, if you're an artist, you should be sketching, and don't even worry about what it looks like. Just get your idea down of what you were trying to do. And this one, I would, you know, and as you can see right here, I'm trying to add a little bit more movement, but, you know, it's not even refined. I mean, like, for those people who are new to the channel, hello. I hope you're enjoying this section. You can, if you're new, you can look at my playlist and Other Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm breaking down the story while I'm telling my own story. And because I'm an artist, I'm also sketching it, and I'm making storyboards because I actually want to create my own little Dungeons and Dragons stories where I have dialogue and everything. This is a project where I'm just adding drawings to it. Whoa, I'm at 7 minutes already. I'm trying to keep these short. So we're in the main throw room, casting spells, fighting hobgoblins. We defeat them, and we decide to explore the caverns more. We go down some hallways, and we find a cell. So I'm messing around with this. So I started working on it. I'm giving one little perspective of you going down the stairs. I got a sideway view of the cells, and I got a beam going, and right here is supposed to be the wall, and right here is going down a further hallway, and maybe I can add more cells. And we find all these people, and we rescue them, and a couple of them are men-at-arms who swear their alliance to us for 1 year that they won't charge us. So they're like our personal bodyguards for a year if we give them armors and weapons. And we rescue a merchant's wife and some other people. And so now we need to get out of there. But the ranger wants us to explore just a little bit more. So we wanted to explore this other corridor that we had found to see what was down there real quick. So we take this whole group with us, and we break down this other door, and there's like an armory, and we fight more of these hobgoblins, but there's only 3, so we're able to dispatch with them pretty quick. And there's all this equipment. Now this is where my friend Joey was my friend who got me into the game because his brother Jeffrey was the DM. So this is where Jeffrey kind of was helping us out and leading the story through the ranger where he wanted us to go, because I'm like 7 years old while I'm playing this. So while I'm learning the basics of the rules, and I like rolling the dice and him giving us options, you know, there's a lot to the game I'm still trying to understand, but you know, my imagination is going overtime, because I'm imagining, because he'd show us these creatures from the monster manual, and he's telling us this story, and we get to be this hero, and everything's cool. And so we found all this equipment, and, you know, we got to find, like, plate mail, and battle axes, and swords, and I got to get a longbow, and we just equipped everybody and took as much of this gear that we could. And we leave the caves again and head back to the keep, which he would like to every now and then. He would have this open, so it would be open like this. So I would always be looking at these images. So when he would say that we go back to the keep, he would just, you know, point to here. And I would just imagine us going back to the keep. Well, it turns out when we get there that the ranger was really in service of not the king, but a person referred to as a Castilian or Castellan. And the first question I asked, I was like, well, what's a Castellan or whatever? And he's like, well, this is a person who's not a lord or a king, but he's the person who they leave in charge while the lord or the king's away. So we go into this grand hallway, and before we go there, on the way, he's telling us how we address this person, and that, you know, we should be on our best manners because this is an important mission that he's on, and he's going to need our help. And so as we get there, there's, you know, there's people, and kind of like just people just doing their own thing. And you know, at this point, I'm just trying to make a very loose sketch, and I'm trying to keep things in perspective. So really, in reality, depending on how they are, the farther the way an object is, the smaller you make it. So if this is a person, you got to realize that this throne is a lot bigger than a typical person would be, than a typical chair. And so the next person, even if I wanted to make him a little bit taller, right, would be right here. And you kind of just put them in the foreground, and they could be, you know, whatever. You can make it like a little damsel. And whatever you want to add to these type of drawings is okay. You know, I got pillars, so I could easily, you know, put a shield here and make this shield just a little bit bigger. Same thing over here. You would kind of like at that point try to roughly just match it up, you know, and then you'd put your little symbol, you know, maybe it'd be a cross. But I would, you know, in the finished drawing, I'd probably go for a little bit more complicated design. You can do that. And, you know, I have these little archways here, but you can easily make this a glass window, or I could make this the beginning of a glass window and have some kind of design where it's like a dragon, you know, it doesn't look like a dragon, but, you know, you get the picture, people. If I say this is a dragon, that's the beginning of a dragon. And so he introduces us to the Castilian, and I know I'm messing that up, the Castellan. And we tell our tale, to all the people there, and we behave ourselves. And he gives us a city blessing, and we donate all the arms that we received that we weren't personally using. And he told us that on behalf of the keep, that we needed to further assist the ranger, who I'm just going to call Strider, just because I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, to assist Strider on exploring the caves of the unknown to see what else other creatures have been, you know, making that place their home. Because there is while it's not directly, so the map is, here's the keep, and we would always take the road and then go to here, to the Caves of Chaos. And I keep calling it a gnome because that's another spot you can go to. And every now and then, you know, either goblins or hobgoblins, they would come, and orcs, and they also had some other creatures would come in and would raid the caravans that would come through here. So when we got there, we proved ourselves worthy of getting more reinforcements to go in there and deal with these creatures, because every now and then they would suffer losses. I used to love this map as a kid. I would just go over it. I just would try to imagine, deep forests and pine trees and this river and all the little mini adventures that he would do in there. And he'd always show us this map. And, once we came through the gate, we'd always end up over here in the bar and the tavern. But this was special because we were never allowed to go into here. And this is where we went into the inner Bailey, and we got to meet important people. So at this point, I become 3rd level. And he wants us to go back and explore the caves of chaos. So we restock, we get more men to watch our camp, and we go back to the caves. So we're given options. So we've already explored the kobolds. We came here, we fought the ogres, almost died. Fought the goblins, came over here, fought the hobgoblins. We did not detect this secret door, but the ranger did give us a notice that maybe we should come back and investigate this room, that this room just seemed to be more than what it was. So he wanted to wrap up that session, so I think that was part of it. Plus, he had other ideas with the storyline of what we want to do. So I'm now 3rd level, feeling good about myself. I have new spells. I think I'm invincible. And he tells us all these caves. He doesn't, say this is cave G, cave I, but he just refers to caves. And as we get to right about here, the ranger gives us a warning that he sees some tracks that he's never seen before, and it's of a large creature that could be similar to like a bear, but it's not a bear. And so Joey kind of caught his brother's hint. He's like, well, maybe we should go somewhere else. And I, being the bold one, feeling good about myself because I'm now a 3rd level wizard. It's like, what are you talking about? We just killed an ogre. We took on the hobgoblins, kicked the hobgoblin's butt. Nothing can touch us. And we have more men who are better equipped. And we have a ranger. No, we should go in. Just think, if it's a big creature, that means it has bigger treasure. So Joey's like, yeah, let's go in. So Jeff's like, okay. Usually when a dungeon master goes, okay, kind of like that, it usually means that you're usually in over your head. Now, I know this video is a little bit long, but I'm trying to now wrap up this part of the story of my first time playing Keep on the Borderland. We go into the cave and we fight a gray ooze. And again, he gives us a description in the monster manual, which I thought was cool. And really, it's like this puddle of water that we couldn't really tell until it starts attacking you. And even though we're hard to surprise, excuse me, it actually got the drop on us. So most of our party was injured pretty bad fighting this, but we were able to kill it. We didn't really find any treasure, but we found another cavern, and we decided to carry on with it. Excuse me. Let me take a drink. Sorry about that. Until we find the creature that had big tracks. And he shows us this illustration, which I will never forget as a kid. Why? Because this is an owl bear. And an owlbear is really tough to kill if you're like first through third level. And he tried to warn us to stay away from there because we didn't have enough magical items to really do heavy damage to it. Excuse me. I'm also looking for the image in the monster manual. So this drawing is really cool. I've always enjoyed this drawing. I love the action on it. And as a kid, I was just like, whoa, this is what the battle looks like. And this is what it looks like when I get a marker and go over and ruin a perfectly good line drawing. And then you have this creature that we'd find out later. And here's some orcs. But generally the artwork looked like this. Nice black and white. And yeah, I had to go ruin it by just coloring over it like a 7 or 8 year old would do. So he would describe to us the owlbear has brownish to blackish to yellow brown fur and feathers because it's an owl and a bear. The beaks of these creatures are yellow to ivory. The eyes are red dimmed and exceedingly terrible to behold. Well, even though you don't really know the rules that much about this game, I'm just going to tell you. So I had about 8 hit points. And in the game, 8 hit points represents how much damage you can take before you die. Well, an owlbear gets 3 attacks, and each attack can do 1 to 6 damage, 1 to 6 damage, 2 to 12 damage. You see where I'm leading with this, people? During the battle, as we were put, and it had a lot of HP on it. During the battle, not only did the owlbear hit me, it killed me in 1 shot. And that was my first adventure, my first time playing D&D. It lasted about three sessions in total, a couple of hours apiece of us just having fun, exploring, learning about the game, and helping my friend Joey, his older brother Jeff, learn how to become a better DM. And now I've shared this story with you. I hope you've enjoyed this series. I don't know where I want to take this next, but I'm going to keep adding drawings to this module, which they refer to it as, and fleshing out all the other rooms, because there are other times that I've actually gone back and played this with Jeff and Joey. We did it a few times, but when we did our characters, because after we had slain the owlbear, or they had slain the owlbear, I had to roll up a new character. And after that point, we went back in there and we slayed some other creatures. So I'm going to save that for another time with other characters. But it was a great story. I mean, I had a great time playing the game. And that's what I want to just, emphasize. When you're with your friends and you're playing this game, it's just about you and your friends having fun. Just playing a board game that used to be mostly in your mind. And now with all these maps that you can draw on and erasers and figures that they now make out of plastic for all these creatures. The game's more 3D now. But back then, it was just a piece of paper and your imagination. So that'll do it, people. In the description, you can see, you can follow me on Instagram. I've been posting other books lately. And my recording schedule is Monday through Friday. It's comic book related videos. As you can see, I'm an artist. So on Thursday, it's Sketchbook Thursday. And as I noted earlier, I was talking with my cousin for like 2 hours. Having a great time talking about comics, movies, and art, because he's an artist. Sorry, I'm really tired. And we're going to end it on that. I hope you've enjoyed this series. And I don't know what I'm going to do next week, but I am going to be doing another Dungeons & Dragons book, but I think I'm going to be talking about a book. So that'll do it. I know this video went a little bit longer than intended, but this story had to be told. Take care, people. Damn owlbear. I didn't know it could kill me in one blow. Jeffrey should have told me. Later.